Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today for Monday, January 5th. It's Alexis Garcia here, and the indexes jumped back above some key moving averages today. And there's a whole lot of news happening out there. We have the CES Tech Conference starting this week, and oh, yeah, we had a whole little regime change happening in Venezuela, it seems like, over the weekend. But here with me to help break down everything you need to know and more about today's trading action is IBD Market Research Director Justin Nielsen. So, Justin, lots going on to start the first full week of trading in the new year. What do you have on tap for us today?
Yeah, just a lot of wow. There are a lot of stocks really moving strongly to start the first week of the new year. But we'll go over a few and we'll spend some time on sectors as well because there's a lot of those that are looking interesting. So in the aerospace defense area, we'll take a look at Karman Holdings. In the finance area, we'll take a look at Rocket. And for the leisure area, let's take a look at Roku.
All right, let's do that. But first, let's just
Oh, I
check
do have a
in.
position in Rocket myself.
All right. Good.
Mhm.
Thank you for the disclosures as well. Let's just go ahead and check in on how the major indexes finished today. The S&P 500 up 0.7%. The big headline was the Dow breaking above, I believe, the 49,000 level, Justin. That today up about 1.3%. The NASDAQ up 0.7%. And small caps having a nice day up 1.7%. So let me go ahead and get my charts going here, Justin. But give me your thoughts so far on the market. We had mixed market on Friday, but a nice bounce today. I'll bring up the Dow because, as we mentioned, getting above this 49,000 level. Don't know if it really closed up there, but a key day there in the blue chip index.
Yeah, right now I'm showing that it closed just shy of the 49,000 level. But as you mentioned, it got up there. That's the first step, right? Now, the next
Mhm.
step is closing above it. And then beyond that, it's can you stay above it? But yeah, very interesting action for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Of course, remember that Chevron CVX is one of the components that was up the most today. That was up over 5%, certainly helping that, the Dow Jones index as well. But it wasn't alone. You had Goldman Sachs with a really strong move today,
Mhm.
up over 3.7%. Let's call it three and a quarter. And then also CAT with about a 3% move. Some really interesting action there. Let's go ahead and also mention honorable mention for Amazon, which is also up almost 3%. Not as strong as those others, but it's still an inside day here. Muted muted excitement there, but the others really strong moves.
Yeah, and let's just check in on the S&P 500, Justin, because I think the story today with a lot of the indexes, we saw Friday either dipping below or flirting with the 21-day line, but today, I think all of the major indexes really moved above that key short-term moving average. But again, this one closing the day up 0.6%.
Yeah, definitely a better close than what we saw on Friday, where there was a lot of interest in buying at the beginning of the session and not so much at the end. However, it's a reminder that there was a little bit of a disconnect between segments of the market. So on the mega cap side, let's just take a look at FNGS, for instance. That was not a great Friday for this. And uh, I would say a pretty muted
Mhm.
recovery today. So that's on the mega cap side. But what was interesting is RSP, the equal weighted S&P 500, looked much stronger on Friday. I mean, that was a close at the top of its range on Friday, a nice follow up to that action today. So as ugly as the close looked for the Nasdaq Composite, the Qs, and the S&P 500, for your average stock, which is what the RSP kind of shows, it was not so bad. It was really kind of a very decent day on Friday and a nice follow up today. Looking at the Nasdaq again, a very mixed market there, even with that index, because on Friday you had SMH up a considerable amount and IGV just getting clobbered. At the end of the day, that kind of ended up with a very mixed message in terms of the tech sector. IGV not getting much of a recovery today, but you had SMH do more than its share of the heavy lifting, and there were a lot of other stocks that were helping the Nasdaq Composite. But one of the things to mention with the Nasdaq Composite is that still an inside day today. So that's something to
Mhm.
just be aware of. An inside day, meaning that today's high and low are within Friday's high and low. So it's a little bit hard to get too excited. I would like to, I do like that we got back above the 21-day moving average line and the 50-day moving average line. But that next step really is to see it cross Friday's high in a meaningful way. And as we said before with the Dow, to stay there.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check in with small caps, Justin. Any thoughts here? Another strong day, up 1.6%.
Well, certainly it looked very interesting that we got that bounce on the 50-day moving average line. Didn't quite get above the 21-day moving average line, but really kind of did it with gusto today. I do have a position in some of the Russell 2000 indexes, whether it's through a leveraged product. We did put UWM on Swing Trader today. I believe IWM was also added to leaderboard. And again, I do have a position in a few of these different instruments, some futures, some ETFs as well.
Right. Well, we talked about SMH. What about taking a look at XLE, Justin? That's the Energy Select Spider ETF. This one up 2.7% today, jumping above this 46.45 flat base.
Yeah. So, of course, as you mentioned, big news out this weekend with Maduro, the president of Venezuela, being captured and brought to the U.S. to stand trial. So, next big question, of course, Venezuela having a lot of oil reserves, but not much production because of some shoddy infrastructure and everything that's gone on over the last few decades. What happens with oil there? Now, there were a lot of there were some really big moves in the oil area, and it was one of those things where I was a little hesitant to say, "Oh yes, this is definitely what's going to happen," because I think that there's uh, a lot of uncertainty with some of this. Who are going to be the beneficiaries here? Certainly, Chevron, CVX, as we mentioned. One of the big components of the Dow was also getting helped because they already have a presence in Venezuela. So this is one of the things that the assumption of more infrastructure investment there will benefit Chevron. You also got to remember, if you're going to do infrastructure, one of the areas to keep in mind is OIH, which is the Bannock Oil Services. So a lot of these companies are going to require services. So just a couple that come to mind are Halliburton, HAL, and SLB, formerly known as Schlumberger. SLB is now just known as SLB. But yeah, these were both huge moves, and you did
Mhm.
have some refiners as well. VLO sticks up quite a bit. That was up almost 10% as it saw a big move. They do have, I think, operations in the Gulf of Mexico, which again, because of its proximity to Venezuela and the ability to kind of handle the sour crude that they produce, that could be a potential beneficiary. We also, a leaderboard name that I'm just going to throw out there that was already looking very different from a lot of the other members of the oil and gas group, FTI, Technip FMC, that actually had a strong move on Friday and a nice follow up move today. So this one has already been trending above the 50-day moving average line. So in a very different position than a lot of the other stocks. And I would put VLO that we talked about kind of in that camp as well. It was already looking stronger as opposed to XLE, which had been just kind of going a lot of chop around its
Mhm.
50-day moving average line and 200-day moving average line. But certainly, it's important to remember that ExxonMobil, that did have a very large presence in Venezuela, and Chevron, those are the two biggest members of XLE, and because of their market caps. Together, they have about a 40% weight in XLE. But if you look at RSPG, that is the equal weighted of the energy ETF. That was no slouch today either, up almost 1.5%. So a lot of action there. Again, who are going to be the big winners? You might look at the picks and shovels again, like with Halliburton and some of the equipment, machinery and equipment makers. Chevron, certainly with their presence, maybe some refiners, but there could be some volatility there, right? You have one day
It's definitely
reaction.
a TBD
Yes.
situation,
Yeah.
right?
So I'm not sure. I'm willing to stick my neck out there. Oil and gas is a hard area anyway for me to trade. It's not like you're going off of fundamentals here. You're going off of future prospects, and there could be a lot of cross currents. So certainly be careful.
Well, I know you and the IBD Live team covered this in depth this morning as well, and we clipped out that conversation. So, if you all want some more analysis of oil and gas stocks in relation to the Venezuela news, we have a clip up on investors.com where Justin and Ed Carson are going through some of these names as well. So, Justin, let's move on. Take a look at SLV. This was also moving today, up 5%. And again, this one already pretty extended here. So thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is still an area, the metals and mining, still an area of strength. So if we look at XME, and XME is is one of those ETFs that I kind of love to hate because as great as this pattern looked, the thing that's tricky about this is XME is filled with such a mismatch of stuff. You've got coal in there, you've got copper, you've got steel, you've got gold, you've got silver, you've got, it's just kind of a little bit of everything. And these are areas that don't necessarily move together, but right now it seems like they are. So, in addition to SLV, you've got GLD gold, of course, that has been looking, very strong. Not as extended as SLV, but you mentioned platinum. Platinum is PLTM is one of the granite shares that had a strong day, up 5%, though well off of its highs. And look, SLX, the steel, that's been making a move. You had some of the aluminum members. CENX was one that stuck out to me. I mean, look at how much of a move that's had. And our good old friend Alcoa AA, that was up considerably today, almost up 10%. So it's kind of like pick your metal. They're all doing very, very strong action. Let's also go ahead and give a nod to copper. CPER is one that you can look at that there. That was up over 5% today. So, some of that sometimes, with these things that are traded in dollars, like oil, like gold, and all of these things, the dollar being the international reserve currency, and where how a lot of these things are traded, a strengthening dollar does help. So that is one component. But man, a lot of these just very, very strong moves in this area.
Yeah, a lot moving today. Let's take a look at XRT, Justin. That's the S&P retail ETF. This one also a pretty good day, up 1.2%. And again, getting back above this key moving average here of the 21-day line.
Yeah, and it's a nice little pattern, kind of breaking a downtrend in a handle. So certainly worth worth keeping an eye on there. One of the stocks here, just to kind of since we seem to be going through a little bit,
Gonna
it's
cover
maybe
everything today.
bonus section. Let's look at Raw Stores that kind of has a similar look here. ROST. This has actually had a nice trend above its 21-day moving average line and 50-day moving average line for a while here, and had a nice move on Friday, followed up today. So we also mentioned Amazon earlier. Yeah, there were a lot of stocks in this area that looked interesting, and again, that XRT itself looks like an interesting pattern. So whether you want to do a sector move just by going with one of these sector ETFs, that's one way to do it, or you can start picking out some of the favorites that you might have in that area, some of the strongest stocks. One of the ways to do that is you could look at the holdings of XRT and say, okay, what are the biggest weights here, and which stocks look like they have the best fundamentals, the best technical action, and you can go with one of the leaders of the group.
All right. Well, we're not done with sectors yet. Let's look at ITA, Justin. That's the Aerospace and Defense ETF. This one jumping at 2% today.
Yeah, so this is, I do have a position in this myself. Really strong move, and yeah, you can throw a dart and find some really strong action here. We will go over Karman in a little bit, but GE Aerospace, certainly one of the areas that sticks out. Kind of looks very similar to the ITA ETF because this is one of the larger components. Not RKT, RTX, formerly known as Raytheon. That was one that we covered on the SMT on Friday. Had a little bit of a follow up move, and some of the other legacy ones, including like NOC, really jumping sharply. That's Northrop Grumman, had a very nice day today. There were a lot of stocks in this area that were strong. So, again, I do have a position here. We have this on Swing Trader, but certainly some strong action lately.
Yeah, and how about a look at Jets, Justin? That's the Jets ETF up 2.6%.
Yeah. So whether you're looking at Delta Airlines, which has its earnings coming up shortly, DAL is the ticker on that.
Mhm.
That was up 4% today. You also have not in as good of a position, but still very strong. Got support at its top of its base was UAL. That was up about 1.5, 1.75%, and AAL. United Airlines, I mean, not United, American Airlines, that was also getting support at its 21-day moving average line. Uh, you know, Again, a whole host of stocks in that area that are looking strong. Southwest Airlines, LUV, that was up 2.75% today.
Yeah, nice move there. Let's take a look at KBWB, Justin. That's the KWEB Bank ETF. Again, financial is also doing well today. It's again, as you could say, you throw a dart. There was some strong action today. 2.4% gain here today.
Yeah, and Goldman Sachs that we already talked about, and one of the Dow components, that was having a great day. That was up 3.75%. Morgan Stanley right up there with a 2.5% move. J.P. Morgan, again, you name a bank, and a lot of those were having great moves today. 2.6% for J.P. Morgan, Bank of America. That was a more muted 1.6%. So yeah, there was a lot of strength there in the bank area. BAC was the Bank of
Yeah,
America.
got it.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of strength in that area. KBWB is one of the ways that I like to play it. You get a lot of the benefits that you would get from XLF, which is the financial sector spider ETF, but without kind of the drag that has lately been, Berkshire Hathaway as they start transitioning away from Warren Buffett um, as the head guy there. So Berkshire BRKB has been a little bit less stellar on the relative strength side, a little bit more choppy lately, and that is a big component of XLF. So KBWB gets you access to a lot of those without the drag of Berkshire.
And we just got one more. Let's take a look at IBIT, the Bitcoin Trust ETF, Justin. This one jumping today about 5%. And again, getting its way back to this 50-day moving average.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it handles itself here. Whether it can get back above that 50-day. Not anything I'm doing anything with, but it is interesting that it's again back up at that area that could be resistance or could be evidence that we're breaking that downtrend. And I also like that line that you drew, Alexis, at 53.72, because we're right on the cusp of crossing that line as well. So it'll be an important inflection point to watch. And personally, I always turn to Jim Ropel when I have crypto questions. He does run a crypto hedge fund, and he will be on our monthly market report basically when we get finished here. So,
Yeah, I will. I
yeah.
love when things work out, but yes, definitely tune in after today's show right on our YouTube channel. We will have monthly market report with Jim Ropel, and I'm sure you all will break down a lot of the moves here with IBIT and more. Well,
You know
Justin, I
what?
guess it's
Not quite time. Because I wanted to just real quickly do SMH one more time because of the
yeah,
strength
let's
there,
do it.
and because we mentioned a few stocks with each of these. A few that I wanted to mention here included Form FORM. Um, that is, yeah, this semiconductor equipment area was something that we were talking a lot about. So you had a breakout here on Form Factor. AEIS was an area, was a stock also that was breaking out today in this same group. Closed off of its highs. But then you also have some stocks that we've been keeping a close eye on lately with KLAC. Um, That's yeah, that had a strong move up 6.5% today. And LRCX, which has actually been trending for quite a while, this is a stock that's been on the leaderboard model portfolio for a while, and so just extending those gains. This one is up and out of there, but again, just kind of shows you how there was a lot of strength in this area. We should also mention on the SMH that Nvidia,
I
the
was going to
Jensen
say,
Huang,
NVIDIA,
yeah.
we've got a CES keynote going on right about now. Not doing too much here after the close, Justin, but again, really at these key levels here of this 50-day line.
Yeah, and AMD will be having a talk later on after the market hours, after extended market hours. So, just something to be keeping an eye on and seeing if there's any reactions to those talks, later on today or tomorrow.
All right, well, let's finally get to Karman Holdings here,
As if we didn't cover enough
Justin.
stocks, right?
We're giving you everything today. This one up over 9% today, breaking above this cup with handle 81 pivot point.
Yeah, so this is one that did get added to leaderboard today. Ken Shreve initially put this on my radar. He actually had a nice move in this over the summer and through October. This base that it had a little bit deep, 38%, and not a great move after its last earnings report. Although it did close well off of its lows on that ugly day, where it gapped down. And it kind of settled down after that and started rounding out. But yeah, your classic cup with handle here, and this one has some fundamental chops as well. Look at that earnings growth from 67%, 233%, 150%. It was unprofitable back in 2022. You can see that on the annual side, but we got to profits 2023, and it looks like some pretty stellar profits estimated going forward as well. It's okay if something isn't triple digit for very long, but the estimates for 2025, like almost 200% for 2025. That'll kind of be wrapped up with this quarter that just ended, but 2026 not looking too bad at 56%. So has the fundamental chops. The group has been stellar. Again, 50 out of 197 in terms of the industry groups where it stacks up in the last 6 months for its relative strength. A lot of names up there along with Karman. We've been seeing that move in ITA. Again, I do have a position there, and just a classic breakout here. So very good look. Nice follow up to the action that it had on Friday,
And
and some
let's go
volume I
ahead.
should mention too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
accelerating volume today as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at Rocket Co's, Justin. This is a financial name. This one again jumping 6% today above another cup with handle base here of a 2060 buy point.
Yeah, this is one that we also mentioned on IBD Live this morning, and I believe Leaderboard added it. I do have a position in this myself, but yeah, this is a lot of eyes are going to be on the mortgages, and how the mortgage companies do. That trickles down over to the home builders, and that whole area as well. So nice breakout here, and although this doesn't have the fundamental chops, it's important to mention that it doesn't have the growth that we saw from Karman. The base here is looking interesting, and so maybe it's not something that I would normally do something about, but the base just looked very compelling to me, and a lot of volume that kind of came in here lately over the last year. You see how that moving average for the volume, that's the
Mhm.
red line at the bottom there. You can see how that's just really increased, very steadily. And a lot of times that does mean that something's getting a little bit more interest by institutions. So that's something that does interest me. You can maybe see that a little bit more on the weekly chart if you flip over there real quick. Yeah, just
Oh yeah.
yeah, this is getting a lot more interest. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. So I started a small position in there, and then I'll just kind of let the market tell me whether I'm right or not on this. If I'm right, I can add more to it, basically feeding the winners. And if I'm wrong, then I've got a small position and I can back away from that pretty quickly.
All right, let's round this out with a look at Roku. Justin, I'll switch back to the daily here. This one up 5.5%, another breakout here. And we see that RS blue dot, meaning the relative strength line, hitting a new high as that breakout occurred.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's go ahead and go back to the weekly chart on this because this is a little bit of a turnaround situation. Actually, let's go to the monthly chart to really kind of get the perspective. This had such a strong move from its IPO in 2017. This was kind of, a little agnostic as to who wins in the streaming wars because this is just, a platform to play, whether it's Amazon or Netflix or what have you. Take your pick. You can do them all on Roku. So Ed Carson and I used to joke that it was one ring that can rule them all. But in 2022, this certainly had a big move down, but it does seem to be recovering. Going back to the weekly chart, you can see on the annual that we're going from some negative, negative EPS to potentially positive here with the 2025 estimates showing profits, and then also 2026 building on that. So that's something interesting. So again, even though the fundamentals aren't there right now, you're just turning back to profitability. It does seem like the estimates are looking strong, and it's going in the right way. And now you have some technical action that's kind of supporting that thesis. I always it's one thing to say, oh yeah, something is turning around, but it's another thing to say that the market agrees with you. And when I see a base pattern like what we see right now on Roku, and here you can go back to the daily chart, that's something that does appeal to me. You also have that relative strength line. Remember, this is a comparison to the S&P 500. You've got that blue dot saying, hey, here's something that was basing that is getting that relative strength line to new highs before the price, or at least to recent new highs, and that's a compelling feature. That's something that you see in a lot of leading stocks that have good moves. So a 5.5% move here, something that we did start a small position in swing trader at the end of the day. So yeah, a lot of stocks here that we've been putting on our products because they've been looking strong. And again, there was a lot to choose from today. So that's kind of the takeaway for today.
Yeah, bountiful day today. And thank you so much, Justin. As we mentioned, you'll be back with Jim Ropel very shortly at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern for your monthly market report. So check that out. And what else do you have going on this week?
Oh, it's going to be great. We're going to have Dr. Thomas Carr, also known as Dr. Stocks, on the podcast this week. A great guy, really, really has very interesting screens that he shares. He's going to kind of do a wrap up of what 2025 meant to him and a look forward to 2026, something that Jim Ropel is also going to be doing. So it's kind of nice when you get different takes on things, and sometimes you can see where folks are agreeing on, people that are using the IBD methodology or different variants there, where the agreement is and where people might be a little bit divergent in their views. So it'll be great to hear from both Jim today and from Dr. Stocks on Wednesday.
All right, Justin. Well, thank you again for all your insights. And that wraps it up for us today. If you want more market analysis, be sure to tune in tomorrow morning, starting with IBD Live. You can head on over to investors.com/IBD Live for all the information there. And as always, we'll be back here tomorrow right after the close.